Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's me, Jay. Here talking about the Jussie Smollett, the Smollett situation, aka the Juicy Smollett situation. I remember like um 2 2 years back, going on 3 right now. Jussie Smollett lied about being beaten up by white supremacists wearing MAGA hats in Chicago, and come to find out that was all bullshit, all lies on the part of Juicy Smollett. Um, yeah. Hey, listen. So now Juicy is going to be serving time in prison along with these other individuals that he orchestrated the beating with. I think it's like 6 months to a year he's going to be serving. But Don Lemon told him, Don Lemon, who was his boy, you know what I mean, told him not to do it, and he went ahead and did it anyway. I think he did it for a publicity stunt. Empire's, at least what's going on. Empire's ratings, uh, yeah, I know his name is Jesse, but the joke is his name is Juicy because because of the Dave Chappelle skit. Okay, yeah, I know his name is Jesse, but I, I'm gonna call him Juicy because a per, a person like this, a person like JS deserves to be in jail. And why I say this, and I have a video on this. Um, it was in 2009, right after he done it, and the mosque shooting happened. And I said during in that video, I said, the Christchurch mosque shooting. I said, why is it dangerous to lie about white supremacy? Because when real white supremacy happens, ain't nobody gonna believe that person. You destroy the credibility of the argument. They're gonna say, well, why should I believe that when this other person, especially who's somebody who's really credible, lied about it? You know what I'm saying? So the accusation become less and less powerful the more they're not to believe. Like for example, if women go around saying, "Oh, I got raped," and 10 women, and you find out out of the 10, five are liars, are you really gonna believe the other five that are telling the truth? It destroys the credibility of the argument. And since Jesse Smollett, this incident happened with him, that's basically what conservatives have been saying. Well, they could be like, well, pointing to Jesse Smollett, well, how do I know white supremacy is really a thing when Jesse Smollett lied? You know what I mean? And he's a high profile celebrity, sort of. But anyway, Don Lemon told him don't do it. Don Lemon was like, don't do this. This you're doing this for publicity stunt, but this is not the move. You know what I mean? Ratings for Empire was starting to slag heavily. When Empire first came out in 2015, I was in the hospital at that time when it first hit. And then when I came out, everything was big. Everything was Empire-ish. It was one of the biggest shows ever. But after a while, I always call it the Black Glee. Lisa knows us. I call it the Black Glee because they capitalized on the momentum of Glee, the visibility of LGBT characters, and the the availability of music that you could download on iTunes. Like, say a song was popular on no, he told him don't do it. Didn't he, Lisa? Say a song was popular on the show, you could just download the song right then and there. Oh, he Don Lemon didn't say don't do it. I heard reports Don Lemon said don't do it, don't lie about it. Anyway, Well, I stand corrected. But anyway, Empire was the hottest show out there. Then the ratings, by the time 2009 rolls, I mean 2019 rolls around, yeah, that's why he said don't do it because no one will believe you. 2019 rolls around. Um, in other words, to retract your statement, 2019 rolls around, and the show is garbage. The show is corny. People don't like it anymore. So time has passed. People moved on to other shows like Power. They could do more stuff because they were on cable, so they had more leeway. Anyway, the moment for the time of that is past. Everything in life has its time. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It was so in order to get himself and the show back into the media, I believe this is why he did it. He makes up this story that he was attacked in Chicago in the middle of the night by white supremacists wearing MAGA hats and saying to him that he was, oh, isn't he that N word from Empire? But like a lot of people growing up, and this is why Don Lemon said nobody would believe his ass. Because Chicago in the middle of the night, MAGA hats, Empire. The story just did not, and he calls himself the gay Tupac. Okay, first of all, why invoke the name of this man, Tupac Shakur? Leave the man rest in peace. By that point, he'd been dead for more than 20 years. Secondly, again, the story didn't add up because MAGA had supporters in the middle of Chicago in the wintertime, calling you that gay N word from Empire. Most of the MAGA supporters never watched Empire. It wasn't the Empire. They wasn't the core audience of Empire. So, and they don't really exist in the urban areas of Chicago. Yes, there. I was telling this to somebody too. Yes, there's MAGA supporters in Illinois, just like there's MAGA supporters in New York. There's MAGA supporters in California or the other liberal states, but they are undercover and they're in secret. They're not going to go out there wearing MAGA hats and with Trump stickers on their bumper cars. They know they'd be outnumbered, so they low ride. They ride low on it. You know what I mean? So people knew it was a lie. After a while, people were like, even his supporters were like, yo, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't add up. And it became like a Tawana Brawley situation. In the same way that when Tawana Brawley lied in the early 90s about being raped by police and Al Sharpton put his reputation on the line for her, and then she found out that she made the whole thing up, it became something like that. It destroyed the credibility of certain arguments, legitimate arguments that people have against these kind of white supremacist attacks and homophobic attacks that really do be happening to people. But you wanted to gain some clout and you wanted to gain some ratings for your show, and you was probably angry at an ex-boyfriend or whatever, and you made it all up and it became a huge publicized thing, and it became something that could be used to weaponize against the true social justice community, the social justice activist community that's out there trying to really change things. So I'm happy in a way. I'm happy, not in a way. I'm happy that he got something. He got justice served to him. He deserved to get that for lying. For how many people have been attacked by a racist mob, and nobody believed them. So when somebody like this comes along and they make up a story like this, and like I said, it happened right around the same time that the mosque shooting happened in Christchurch, New Zealand, and that's what it just flashed to me back. It flashed me back to that. I'm like, this is why Jussie Smollett shouldn't have made up this story, because there's real white supremacists out there, there's real haters out there, there's real people out there that's gonna harm somebody. Right, yeah, the homophobic stuff. Again, that happens a lot too, Lisa. And the gay community was the ones that really, the gay, well, the gay white community, they really believed them. They rode with him to the beginning, and they really put their necks out for him, and they pulled all the strings for him. But it turned out to be a lie. In other words, people's lives, people's livelihoods, people's political connections are connected to what you're trying to do. So if what you're trying to do is fraudulent and what you're trying to do is fugazi, right? What Lisa just said. When this happened, a lot of the trans community was getting killed. That popped into my mind too, but I didn't think of it. Um, this was a time, if you guys remember, when they were talking about the trans bathrooms in South Carolina, where the debate was going on about the use of trans bathrooms in certain down south states. And this was also a time when, because of that, because of some of the blowback from the Caitlyn Jenner situation that happened not so long before that, a lot of transgender people, the trans women, were getting beaten up, getting killed, getting murdered, getting raped. And by him doing this, he made a mockery of the struggle that they go through. So I hope when he gets to the prison, they handle him accordingly. I don't know, probably be in protective custody. Who knows? But what what is crazy is so rare for a celebrity who has got the protection of celebrity status to go to jail and to face time. So it really shocked me. I thought he was going to get off, you know. But he had everybody gunning for him, man. People believed in you. You know what I mean? People believed in you. People were ready to yeah, his career is over. Here's the thing: I don't think he ever had a career. You know, he was on the show Empire, and he's known for being in Mighty Ducks years ago. But people know Journey Smollett. They barely don't know Jussie. They know more so Journey. Journey, his sister, is the one that we saw in all the movies, and she was the cuter one. She was the one that I swore when I used to see her as a kid that she was gonna be a star. Was it gonna be him? But yeah, his career is over before it even started. I really think that he was trying to go for some a tough guy persona, social justice warrior type thing, and it didn't really work out for him because he didn't have his story correct. If he'd have been a crusader against homophobic violence, he'd have been like, well, you know what? I was jumped in the middle of the night by some gangbangers in Chicago, and that was the story. And even though that was going to be a lie, still, it was been more believable than what he came up with. You know, what he came up with didn't make any sense. You know, and the more he started to elaborate on his story, the more it didn't make sense. The more it seemed like it was BS. You know, so now yeah, he tipped them off. You know, you might give yeah. CNN is definitely not having a good couple of weeks. I mean, Chris Como's going for covering up for his brother, and now Don Lemon's going for covering up for his friend. You know, somewhere in Secret Service right now, Trump is loving this right now. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere, like buried in the catacombs or wherever, Trump is loving that Don Lemon might get fired and that Chris Cuomo has already got fired and that CNN is cleaning house. CNN is cleaning house worse than WWE did back in March of 2020. You know what I mean? Somewhere Trump is loving this because he hated those guys. He hated Don Lemon and he hated he hated Chris Cuomo. Probably hated Jussie Smollett too. Hey, why blame my followers for something that two Nigerian guys? Come on. Trump would have been like, see, if Trump was smart, he'd have been like, Jussie Smollett. That's why he lied. That's why I got to make America great again to get rid of these liars and these frauds. Yeah, I don't doubt it because again, the reaction, the reaction to a lot of prisoners. I'm sure a lot of prisoners took guilty pleas and stuff. We talked about this before with the R. Kelly thing. Prisoners, people in jail, you know, a lot of them are in jail because of economic circumstances. They weren't like Jussie Smollett, born with a silver spoon in their mouth as a child actor. And a lot of times, you know, they had to cop pleas and they had to come up with stuff that was, um, stuff they didn't do. Or a lot of times people lied on them. You know what I mean? There are plenty of individuals that are incarcerated that are not. And this is what I'm learning too from watching a lot of these prison channels. Shout out to some of the prison channels that I'm watching on YouTube. That it's not always what we, the civilians, think. You know what I mean? A lot of people are um, in jail, incarcerated because somebody lied on them, just like with Jussie Smollett. So they'll be angry about that, sure, for sure. He'll definitely be a target because he's foul. He's fucked up. He made a mockery of shit that people really go through. This is not. This is not funny. This is not cool. This is not a publicity stunt. This is not jackass. This is not punks. This is something real. You know what I mean? You, you could have gotten two two innocent people locked up behind your BS. And people in the world of the prison system don't take well to that, at least. Again, because they themselves probably been lied on. They themselves had to take guilty pleas because they didn't have the money, they didn't have the resources like Jussie Smollett to get out of this. You know what I mean? So a lot of times there's a lot of resentment. Nah, nah, you won't be able to. Because what he did wasn't as bad, but what he did was still bad though. Like there's still gonna be people that'll try to fuck him up though. You know what I mean? Like he didn't harm children, he didn't harm women, he just a liar. But it's a really strange kind of crime to be convicted of, because like of all the crimes in the world, you really don't hear somebody being convicted of that. Like that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like that's some real crazy stuff. You know, you don't hear that as much. You hear like people, people being convicted of drugs, people being convicted of fraud in different cases. But you don't hear this as much. This is like the first time I've ever heard something like this go down. You know what I mean? So there's no there's no precedent in, in the world how they would react, how the in the prison world how they would react to something like this. But they just probably would think he's a punk ass bitch and want to beat his ass. You know what I mean? For lying, they don't need a reason. Like hell, you tried to make a mockery of our struggle. I'm sure many of them have dealt with racist cops. Many of them in Chicago and stuff. You know what I mean? Many of them dealt with the racist justice system, and he tried to make a mockery of it. And he thought he was above it. Dude, you ain't above it, bro. Just because you're an actor on a popular TV show, think before you make up these stories for a ratings ploy. And then in the end, Empire really wasn't fucking with you because the shit backfired. They killed off your character and it was gone from there. You thought you was doing it for the team, but the team wasn't really down for doing no dirty shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You was dirty. You was dirty doing that. You was doing it for your own personal gain. You wasn't doing it for the show. You wasn't doing it to raise awareness to white supremacy. You ain't gonna have to pay. Man, your boy is screwed. And this is why Don Lemon told him, don't do it, bro. You know, nobody will believe you. You know what I mean? But he went ahead and did it anyway, stupid asshole. You know, you know, he went ahead and did it anyway, and he paying the consequences. Uh, they say he was in Mighty Ducks. I watched that for a while. Mighty Ducks, that was one of my favorite shows in the movies of the '90s as a kid. I don't remember seeing them at all. Well, if he wasn't, it too bad. Too bad Gordon Bombay wasn't a real character. Could have bailed him out with some duck quacks, right? Peace. Anyway, thank you guys. No justice for Jussie. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell button to see when my next video is coming out. Now the old one, old one. They say he was in it when he was a kid. I don't know. I watched that show. I watched that first one, the second one, the third one. Basically, if it wasn't the Basham Brothers or the Fat Kid Goldberg, I really wasn't watching none of them. But peace. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell and subscribe, y'all, because for some reason the subscriber numbers are going down, and I don't know why. But I want the channel to grow. I want to continue to make more content, and I want people to give their input about what kind of content I should make. You know what I mean? My channel seems to be diverse. My channel seems to be all over the place. So I really want the input of the subscribers, the input of the people watching, the viewers that are not subscribers that are going to become potential subscribers to give me some kind of input so I can have my channel grow. Peace. Thank you, Lisa, for subscribing. Don't forget, again, right, a lot of ideas, a lot, I know I know you guys love the wrestling stuff, and I love wrestling. I have a passion for doing wrestling. But the problem is, my co-host Lisa is not so fond of it, and I'm not so fond of it anymore. Sorry, it's getting kind of whack. WWE, AEW, so I try to branch off and do different things. But give me ideas. Let me know in the comment section what kind of videos you would like me to do. Peace. Thank you, Lisa, for subscribing.